So we're talking today about Zoey the giraffe. Zoey is one of our females, and she has a lameness in her front left hoof. When we did x-rays of her foot, we noticed that one of her toes was broken, and it's the toe bone that's actually inside of the hard part of her hoof. So we don't really have the opportunity to splint it or fix it the way you would another broken bone. So we had to look for other ways to keep her comfortable. She is on different medications to help her feel more comfortable, but it's kind of hard to tell a giraffe what to do. So we were looking for other options to give her something that makes her feel better. And one of the options is to give her foot some supportive structure. So if you think about a broken finger in a human, one of the things you can do is splint it against your other finger for support instead of having a whole big cast. So I learned a technique with Steve Foxworth, who runs the Zoo Hoof Trim program, which is a specialty program that looks at hoof care in zoo animals. And he has done a lot of research and does a lot of trainings to help teach zoos good ways to take care of the hooves in animals that are not our normal pets. So taking information from horses and cows and using that on zebras and giraffe. And he developed a technique in which you can use a shoe to help support that broken toe against the other toe of the hoof. So giraffes have two different claws on each of their feet, on each foot. And by putting this shoe on, you're supporting one of those toes against the other toe and hopefully giving them a little bit more comfort. And so this bottom part helps keep those toes together, and then this clear part on the top is actually where we put the glue that holds this shoe on. So we're not actually putting glue underneath because I want to make sure that she doesn't have anything on the bottom of her foot that's going to feel like a pebble or a Lego that might make her a little more uncomfortable. So it's more like wearing a flip-flop that's kind of attached to your foot so that she can have both of these toes supporting each other. And this is a shoe that is custom made for Zoey. So the staff had to train her to get an outline of her foot, and then we use that outline of her foot to actually make this shoe exactly to the shape of her foot. Now, I made several different types of them and we tested it on her foot. And once we found the perfect shape that fit, we also had to work on training her to be comfortable to wear the shoe and eventually put the glue on to hold it on there for a longer period of time. Now, Zoey is one of our more nervous giraffes, and it took her a little of time to become more comfortable with me because I'm the vet and I usually only come around when animals are sick, and she's very, very comfortable with her animal care staff. So we wanted to take more time for her to feel more comfortable with me and not see me as somebody who's only around when animals aren't feeling well. So we've actually spent more than a year working with Zoey for her to be comfortable with me being around her feet and working and touching her around her feet to be able to put the shoe on. And finally, we got to the point where she was comfortable with me putting the shoe on, moving her foot, and having these weird implements around so that we could put the glue on, and she didn't think that it was something big and scary. So today was very exciting because all of that training has come to fruition, and we actually glued a shoe on for the first time, and she did very well. She tolerated it really well. She trained really well. You may notice that she has a little bit of Play-Doh between her toes, and that was to make sure that any glue that we put on the top of her foot didn't accidentally get between her toes and feel uncomfortable. And we will continue to do the shoe as long as she's feeling comfortable. Now, since we can't fix the broken toe inside the hoof capsule, we will continue her pain medications, any physical therapy, continuing hoof care, and these shoes as long as she needs it. We're not quite sure why Zoey has a broken toe at this time. You can see it in older giraffes or giraffes who have abnormalities to their hoof itself, but we are making sure to keep her hoof very well trimmed in a very normal shape. And she does very well with the staff giving her regular hoof trims, and hoping that as she continues to heal, that she finds some comfort, and the shoe and all of her other therapies keep her comfortable.